Okay, everyone, we'll get started now. Again, my name is John McCarthy. I am the president of the Inland Empire chapter of the American Advertising Federation. Joining us today is Max Ramirez. He is head of Headline Studio, and he'll be giving us a webinar today entitled Unlocking the Power of Storytelling at Scale. It's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, Max Ramirez, who currently serves as a senior director of content marketing Skyline, the innovative studio division of Southern California News Group and the San Diego Union Tribune. Max brings over 15 years of media experience to this discussion today with an impressive background that spans major news organizations, including Warner Brothers, Discovery, NBC Universal, and iHeartMedia, as well as various digital media startups. In his current role, he leads the content marketing initiatives that helps brands create meaningful connections with audiences across Southern California with compelling storytelling. At this time, when content marketing is generating three times the leads at 62% less than the traditional outbound marketing costs, Max's insights on strategic storytelling couldn't be more valuable for today's marketing professionals. Throughout this session, Max will provide proven strategies to build trust with customers, avoid common storytelling pitfalls, and elevate your brand's narrative for broader impact across multiple channels. So please join me in welcoming Max Ramirez to share his expertise on how we can all harness the transformation of power of storytelling at scale. Max, take it away.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And also, I would like to thank the entire board from the American Advertising Federation of Inland Empire for inviting me to this powerful, storytelling webinar. So, yeah, just want to introduce myself. My name is Max Ramirez, and I lead everything content marketing here at Media News Group, and we own the Southern California News Group platforms, publications, and also the San Diego Union Tribune. And what I would like to do today is I'm really excited to share with you what we do here, but in addition, share some best practices and uncover some pitfalls that people go through when they start creating content. In addition to that, my most exciting part of this webinar is going to be towards the end, is just engaging with all of you to see exactly what are your questions, how we could help, and discover opportunities where we can work together. But we'll get started. What we're going to discuss today is I'm going to give you a little overview of who I am and Skyline Studio, how to build trust and credibility with our customers, storytelling best practices and pitfalls, and strategies to elevate your story for broader impact. And I'll share some examples, just like John said as well. So let's get right into it. Just to give you a little lay of the land, why I'm here, why I'm talking to you, how relevant is my information. I started my career back in like 1999, dating myself. I went to school at night in New York, and during the day I was working in advertising. So I started my career at Katz Media. It was a rep firm representing TV stations and radio station groups across the country. And from there, I went into the advertising agency world. Did that for a while in the experiential space for multiple brands. But one thing that I noticed when I worked for an agency was I worked only with one client or two clients at the max, and I kind of miss the opportunity to work with more clients. So I transitioned as a marketer into sales and working in brand partnerships with all of these firms that you can see here above the agency worlds, like Gum Gum, is the ad tech company, VIX. At the time, it was Batanga Radio, LATV, Musica Roots, SBS is a radio station group, and then as you can see, the other ones here as well. But right now, what we're going to discuss today is Skyline Studio. And basically, we're a division of the Media News Group. So I've had a pleasure of working with a lot of traditional media companies that need help monetizing their digital media and really telling stories around different brands. And what I like working with different media companies is that you get to work with various clients. So everything from automotive to entertainment to CPG to QSRs. And it's a great experience working in the media space. And I love what I do every day. So I'm blessed to have this opportunity to share with you guys. So as we get into it, Skyline, basically, like I mentioned, we are the in-house studio for brands like the Southern California News Group, which includes about 12 properties that we own and operate, and then also the San Diego Union Tribune. These are just some of the publications. Some of them you may look familiar, especially the press enterprise, the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin and San Gabriel Valley Tribune, and San Diego Union Tribune, as you can see here. These are all the ones that we own and operate in Southern California. And then we have a couple of newer ones like the SoCal FOMO on the bottom right and SoCal Moments. And I'll go into those a little bit later on as far as what they are and what kind of content they have. Okay. And don't mind me if I go a little bit too quick. It's probably for your best. It's for your best because at the end of the day, I'm a New Yorker, so I speak very fast and quick and to the point and very direct. So we get asked all the questions towards the end. So thank you for your patience. These are some of the clients that we've worked with when it comes to storytelling. Brands like Amazon, as you can see, a good mix of large accounts to regional accounts to local accounts. So we have a good combination of accounts, as you can see here, from all industries, from QSR to CPG to sports and a little bit of everything, as you can see. And this is a core of our pillars of what we do here when it comes to Skyline Studio. Obviously, the newspaper publications, they focus on the print stuff and a lot of event stuff. I focus primarily on everything that's very digital focused and everything that's custom. So everything from branded content, custom content, influencer marketing, and event marketing. One thing that we also do is creative services as well, in-house that we could offer to a lot of clients as well. So this gives you a good feel of the core of what we do over at Skyline, but I'll get into this in a little bit later with some examples that makes a little bit more sense. So white content marketing we're going to discuss today. I think there's a lot of conversation around content marketing, and it's been around for a very long time. It just how it's being executed these days is a little bit differently. And you're probably thinking, why do I need to do content marketing? I do tons of advertising. Well, it's because digital media and advertising is becoming this right here. It's becoming a zoo. It's very saturated. Like there's so many options, and you're gonna get lost in the shuffle. Like this is just walking down, let's say Times Square. You see a bunch of billboards. You won't even remember which billboard that you saw while we're walking there because it's overwhelming at the end of the day. But the same happens with digital. Digital is very overwhelming as well. You get so much content, you're overwhelmed with so much display ads, native ads, contextual ads, video ads, pop-up ads. I mean, it's overwhelming. And after a while, it's I feel there's still place to have a nice marketing mix. And I feel depending on clients' budgets, you have to do a little bit of everything. So and obviously you can't do it all, but you have to be very strategic as far as where to put your dollars. And that's why you all hire your agencies or you all have your, marketers in-house that could really help you guide you through that. But you have to be very selective because, as we all know, we have to be very conservative these days with our budgets because things are heading in a little tight situation right now. But here we go. So this is Elaine right here. She's like, "Oh my God, what to do next? What to do next?" I mean, there's so many options, right? So I think at the end of the day, I like to just bring this up. Is these are the building blocks when it comes to storytelling. I feel these are the key 5 pillars that you need to work with. Number one is personalize your campaigns. I think it's important to have some sort of way that you connect with the audience or with your clients when you create these campaigns. Be transparent. I think whether it's pricing, whether it's the role of the communication that you deal with your customers or clients, you have to be transparent. Is it easy? Is it hard? What steps they need to take? Just be as much transparent as you can. You need to show empathy. If they're going through tough times, or if it's a tough time, if we're going through a recession, if we're going through COVID, whatever it is, you got to be very careful how you have your communication at the end of the day. And then being consistent. I think your messaging around the values that you have for your company has to be very consistent. You can't say one day you pro this thing and then you're going to be pro another thing. So people could read in between the lines and they know when you're just making stuff up to get on their good side. So just got to be consistent, have the right messaging, and last but not least is be a teacher. I think it's important that we all have to be a teacher when it comes to educating our clients or educating our audiences as far as being a thought leader in the marketplace. So there's a lot of things happening right now around AI. Are you educating them? Are you using AI? Just being a little bit more a leader as far as educating them when it comes to how to use your product or service, I think is very important. what I wanted to do is also to show you a couple campaigns that I've seen in the past. This is not, these aren't Skyline campaigns, but just I grab them just as best practices that I've seen in the marketplace, that shows that how you can market your product or service that doesn't have to be in their face. It could be a soft sell. It's just or just connection with the with the consumer overall. So this ad right here is girls from Compton don't play tennis. They own it. So it shows Serena Williams, obviously from Compton, shows a good example how she's one of the best tennis players of all time, and it shows just do it as opposed to putting a sneaker and putting a price on it. Another example is if you're a dog lover, you can appreciate this ad because you know how relevant the ad. If you do the ad on the left and the ad on the right, obviously the ad on the right is going to be a little bit more effective than the one on the left. So a lot of this stuff is not mind blowing like Bill says here, but I think at the end of the day, we all, like I said, have to be teachers. We have to be very you have to put yourself in your client's shoes or your audience shoes or consumer shoes, like what's in it for them, how you want them to perceive you. Because a lot of times, a lot of us, we get into our own mindset as an organization and want to put information out there that you talk internally in our language, like whether it's acronyms or way of doing things and put it out there in the marketplace. But at the end of the day, you have to break it down to the ridiculous when it comes to engaging with our consumers and clients. So here are a few pitfalls to avoid as well. You want to avoid being self-serving. I know there's a lot of companies that are number one, the number one top selling, the number one in reach, the number one in everything. But I think at the end of the day, the more you connect with the consumer or with the client and themselves, I think that's going to matter more than ever. When people don't care that you're number one. People don't care that you're the best in things. So you have to make sure that whatever you put out there, it resonates with the consumer at the end of the day. You got to make sure you give them exactly what they need. You can't overcomplicate things. You got to, talk to them the very basic terms, less is more. Failing to engage emotionally. That's another thing. Like I mentioned, during key times, if they're going through rough times, if it's just tough times during the industry or during the economy or anything in life or a big tragedy that happened, just be very sensitive when it comes to that. And a lot of brands like to chase trends. I think this is be hard to keep chasing trends, to keep putting content consistently, like after something happens that's trending. It's good to do that, but at the same time, you're always going to be catching up, as opposed to being proactive and doing evergreen content. I think evergreen content is very successful because it has legs, it'll last longer. You could put it at any point in time, it's still relevant to the consumer. So that's one suggestion that I have as well. All right. So we all remember this from Star Trek for you Trekkies out there, but he's saying engage, engage, engage. So I think one of the most important things to engage is how you're going to amplify those campaigns. You created great content. Now, how you're going to engage? Because you could create a great video, great campaign, but if it's not being seen, it's irrelevant. And you spend a lot of money just creating the campaign. So these are just some of the most impactful ways to really amplify your campaigns. Number one is video.
Max,
Yes.
we're having a tough technical difficulty with some people trying to log in. I'm going to try something real quick and see if we're able
Sure.
to join those two things together.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll
With me
pause
one
right here
second.
then. Sure.
Let me see if that works. Okay. For some reason, there's some people trying to log in. They were unable to log in. So I'm not going to let's continue the conversation and then I'll send them the recording afterwards.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you for joining. For those that weren't on earlier, we're just going over as far as the ways that you can amplify your content marketing campaigns. These are some of the most effective ones that I've have experience working with, some best practices with. So number one is video. I think video is very impactful these days because a lot of people are consuming content on a mobile phone. So video, the way you create is very important. There's a lot of folks that like to promote themselves and do videos, that could be 3 to 6 minutes or even longer. But I think it's important to do a combination of long form and short form as well, especially snackable content. because you never know where they're going to be consuming the video. It could be from a phone, it could be from a tablet, or from a a big screen on their household. So video, I think, is going to be very important to share these stories. Also, through television and CTV. I mean, if you can afford the TV budgets, I think CTV is a great platform that you could create a lot of videos and you can share it through CTV as well. So that's a great opportunity as well to do that. And obviously, YouTube is part of that as well. Um, Online and print articles. I mean, articles, this is nothing new, but it's been going around forever. But more and more, a lot of companies are being a little bit more proactive now and creating series of articles or doing stuff around events or doing stuff around different initiatives that they have for organizations. So that's a good opportunity also to create articles, whether it's print or digital. And a lot of companies that we work with do that as well. White papers and case studies. I think this is another one as well. There's a lot of opportunities that you could be as a thought leader in the marketplace. Let's say if you're selling shoes or selling sneakers or selling TVs, whatever it is, you could come up with different ways what to look out for when buying a new TV, things to look out for when you're buying sneakers, things to look out for, when traveling. These are different things that you could take the initiative and put together a nice white paper on and share it, and you get people involved and consuming your content. So this is more like a soft sell, which is great because it puts you in a position that you're out there in the community sharing this information, educating people, but at the same time, you're being looked at as the thought leader in the marketplace. So if they have questions or anything, they're going to come and lean towards you and ask you for questions and most likely get your business as well. Social media as well. There's different ways you could do social media. It could be within your platform. You could collaborate with other folks, other publications, advertise on other publications. You could also use influencers at the time as well. You could use them as talent. You could use them to create your content. So there's different ways that you could work with influencers and social as well. And then live and virtual experience. As you could, this is a perfect example of what we're doing now with virtual experience. Obviously, post the pandemic, there's a lot of need for people to go out and do a lot more live events, and events are picking up at the moment. But also, there's a lot of people that probably moved out of town. They're away a little bit away, or maybe they have children and they can't get out that often, so they like the virtual experience. That way, they have the best of both worlds. They're involved, but not face to face, but at least they're involved at some way or another in the industry or some sort of event. So these are just some of the key pillars when it comes to elevating your and promoting and amplifying your custom content or content marketing initiatives, as you can see here. And for custom content, I would like to just go over a couple examples of how we work with here at Skyline. Number one is custom content. This broken down, to be specific, is more used for companies when they have challenges. They're going through a crisis. They want to celebrate a campaign anniversary, company anniversary. They want to share their initiatives that they're doing around HR or a new product, or they want to reach a targeted audience that they're not reaching with their traditional media at the moment. And I'll share some examples as well so you can see. And these stories that are on custom content are with your voice. So we have nothing to do with writing the article. You provide us a press release, you give us some direction, or we could even interview your staff and then we'll create the article for you as well in your voice. So Disney, for example, had challenges connecting with their employees. There was a lot of back and forth as far as employees. They weren't engaging in a positive way with Disney. So Disney did an annual campaign series with us around custom content, and that included like print articles, full page. They did editorial content, sponsored articles on web, and also through social media. They shared a lot of their engagement with us, and it was just more to highlight the key things that they're doing because sometimes, bad news is shared easily more than good news, or a lot of companies don't toot their own horns and promote what they're doing great in the community. So this was a great opportunity for Disney to put out there what they're doing in the community, what they're doing with employees, and share it with everyone at the end of the day through the Orange County Register. Another example here was when the new museum for the Cheech, everybody knows Cheech, but they didn't know that he had his own, museum with the Riverside Art Museum as well. So there was a lot of things that we need to spread the word, to spread the awareness here locally in Riverside and let people know what we have to offer and what they had to offer and upcoming exhibits and events. And we did custom content series that went on newspapers and digital as well. And it was a great opportunity to share the experience. So as you can see, it's very colorful, it's very vibrant. It's not like a black and white, ad at the end of the day. So it's more like an advertorial, more like sponsored custom content. So as you can see, it looks great here as well. And then another example was with Amazon. They wanted to really try to drive more employee engagement and try to attract new employees to Amazon because they've been growing substantially. So as you can see here, we did a featured article on a entrepreneur, a female that had started her own Amazon delivery service. This is a program that they have. So she was able to share her story. So Amazon did this, just highlighting a lot of individuals that work at Amazon or started a business around Amazon. And then the image on the right is a gentleman here as well that he started a jerky business as well, and talks about how great is having Amazon as a partner, and Amazon actually created this article as well, featuring their entrepreneurs as well. And another example we have here with McDonald's is that McDonald's want to try to increase their, as you can see, a lot of these has been around employment and HR. So I think a lot of times, it's hard to attract good talent. So this is another initiative that McDonald's did to try to attract good talent. And they're showing 3 employees that basically worked at McDonald's and have elevated their careers due to working at McDonald's. So you have a few examples here. These are 3 candidates. We interviewed them at an event. We did personal interviews, put them on a newspaper article. We did it online as well, shared it through social, and we also did a video series as well, as you can see in the bottom right. So these are just different ways that we could do as far as customizing it. It doesn't look like a traditional ad. It grabs people's attention. It has legs. You can amplify it through digital, through social, to different platforms, as you can see here. And then another option is branded content, working with Skyline Studios. So with branded content, there are 3 pillars that you can work with when it comes to our platforms. Number one, all of our Southern California News Group publications has a section called T. So the T stands for Trends, Experiences, and Arts. So anything that's trending that you want to incorporate your brand into, or experiences or arts, there's a great opportunity that you could put your content in here. We also have 2 websites. One is SoCal FOMO, that's fear of missing out. This is great for new products, things to go, things to travel to, experiences. We'll create an article as far as where to go, what to do. Maybe it's the top 5, cafes in Riverside, or top 10 destinations to take your kids this summer, things of that nature. We could do it around that. And then the other one is SoCal Moments. SoCalMoments.com is more around parenting, family, and moms. So everything around that, we could do that as well. We could create listicles or different opportunities around that. As you can see here, like these are just some of the options that you could do with the branded articles. We could do listicles, best of, things to do, feature, must see, around town, top destinations, and more. So we could be very creative with that. In addition, when you have this article, we take over the entire space. So no other competitor could come in and try to take your ad space with contextual advertising. So for example, if you're promoting a museum, you're not going to see like, the Orange County Museum or LA Museum here, the Broad Museum or anything like that, because it's just focused on the article, and we're going to take over those ad spaces as well to make sure you have that exclusivity. Another example here was Pismo Beach. They had a great opportunity to try to drive more travelers to Pismo Beach. They were having a lot of difficulties getting people there. So they started doing a series of, sponsored articles with us. And we created articles as far as what to do when you go to Pismo Beach, destinations to go to, where to go, where to eat, where to play. So as you can see on the right, they featured a couple of their partners. So they featured a surf academy, beach bike rentals, and a couple of restaurants and a couple other locations. So this is great. The listicles are great for it. If you could round up co-op dollars from your partners, from friends, from vendors, this could be a good opportunity that you could pull in some money and have a great article and get it amplified with their support as well. And one of the final examples I want to go over around branding content. This was a great campaign that's still ongoing with Kia. They came to us and they had a challenge that they want to try to find a place that they can educate people on the difference between having a hybrid, having an EV, how to compare some models, how to get your home ready to charge a vehicle like this, or what works better for you, charging at home or charging in public stations, technology, just what's trending in the EV market and hybrid marketplace. So what we did was we created custom section that lives within all of our Southern California News Group platforms, publications. So for example, if you go to San Diego Union Tribune, Press Enterprise, Orange County Register, you'll be able to see this hybrid EV buying guide, and it's brought to you by Kia. So have a header, as you can see on the top. It has a header and is brought to you by Kia. And all these articles are going to be featured here, and they're going to own all the advertising space within those articles. So it's exclusive only to Kia as the automotive manufacturer. We wanted to make it exclusive to them because they're paying all this money to put it together. We have it also open to charging stations or other like tire companies or anything that's non-automotive related, like OEM related to the manufacturer of an automobile. But this is great. This is just an example of what we could do. We also have a custom section around branded content around sports, college sports. So let's say you want to tie into the community as around college or sports. You could have your brand owning that space within the publications as well. So this gives you another example of how we could do custom examples. We could do pretty much anything custom. And then let's say you want to go national. We could also make this a national campaign by living it on its own page, like a landing page. And we'll be able to amplify within all of our publications across the country or programmatic advertising. We work with the trade desk and we'll amplify your campaign through there as well. And you probably say, Max, this sounds all great and everything, but it sounds like a lot and it's overwhelming. I'm a one-man band or have 2 or 3 people only. I don't think we could do all this. And I think it's just having a clear understanding of what you're trying to accomplish when it comes to content marketing. These are just some of the ways I'm going to tell you how to get started. And it's I'm going to tell you it's not easy. This has been done for years, content marketing, but just getting started is hard. You have to have strategy. You have to have a team in place. You have to pull a lot of content out there. So these are just some of the ways that you could get started. So for example, the easiest and the most recognizable content that you could think of right now is, let's say, holiday tentpoles. So you say, let's say right now we're around, the Q2. So right now we want to put content around Mother's Day, graduation, Mother's Day, Memorial Day weekend, Father's Day, summer activities, things to do. So that just gives you a good idea of like how to plan out your content throughout a content calendar. Then Q3, Q4. So that way you have all this information in front of you and you're ready to go out there. And that's where you work with organizations like us, is that we help you. We have creative folks in-house. We have marketers, strategists in-house that can help you do all this stuff. And if you don't have a creative team, a big creative team, we do that as well. We can support you with all that stuff. And to take it a step further, besides holiday tentpoles, we could go into contextual advertising as well. So we could do everything around beauty and lifestyle. We could do things around sports. Let's say it's the golf tournaments coming in, college sports, World Series, Super Bowl, Olympics, pickleball. I included pickleball because I started actually playing pickleball right now, and I think it's fun. And I feel there's not enough content around pickleball, and it's one of the fastest growing sports at the moment. And I think whoever starts branding themselves around pickleball, besides paddles and nets and all that things, all those things, I think to have a good opportunity to really engage with this audience, because it's a combination of young people playing pickleball and a little bit older senior as well playing pickleball as well. So it's a great community. Automotive, we could do automotive content around, like I mentioned earlier, around electrification. We could do stuff around sports vehicles, SUVs, luxury, overlanding, or just cover auto shows or car meetups, and entertainment as well. Everything around the award season or CES or South by Southwest. We could cover all types of sports, and we could have coverage of that as well. So I know that was a lot. Right now, we'll like to just provide you in the appendix a couple, statistics and stats that are out there in the industry right now that I captured, and I put it nice and neat here if you could have, and you could, if your client or if you're not doing any form of content marketing, these are some cool stats to know. So number one, when marketers update their content, 53% saw an increase in engagement, which is pretty high. 60% of people enjoy reading useful content from brands. 55% of marketers said that creating more content and posting more frequently help boost their content rankings. And 94% of marketers say personalized content boosts sales. So these are just a couple. I included a few more as well around content marketing for you to read at your leisure. But right now, I just wanted to open up for questions and be able to help you out when it comes to your time. I mean, you spent your lunch hour here. You're probably eating some food too and hanging out with me. But I think I would love to see how I could help you at the end of the day. But before I shut down this presentation, I just want to make sure you have my information as well. Yes, that's a 917 number. That's a New York area code I haven't given up. And that's my email there as well, max@skyline.studio. But I want to thank you for your time and John, let's open the floor so we could definitely help everyone out with their
Well, no,
questions.
thank you, Max. A couple questions that did come in, and again, we're having some technical difficulties, so some people were not able to join the webinar.
Okay.
And so this question might be applying to that is, we're going to send a copy of the webinar to all the attendees, whether or not they were able to actually physically get in or not. And then there was a question, Max, are you able to share a copy of this presentation, with the participants?
Yes, I will be able to share. Correct.
And then one person chimed in here. They noted the pickleball reference, and then they talked about, can you be sponsored by an orthopedic doctor around pickleball injuries? So
That's exactly what we do every day, all day, every day. I mean, you name it, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, totally.
very good. And then there was a good, interesting question. We started the presentation around how Southern California news group really is around Southern California Edison, but then you introduce an example there around Pismo Beach.
Right.
Do you have relationships where you can work outside of the geographic area? And the example that they asked for was, they said, "Hey, if I operate hotels in Palm Springs, how do I reach audiences outside the region, saying, let's say the Northwest, like Seattle? Do you have that type of capability?"
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of clients come to us, especially like that Pismo Beach example, like most people don't want to just do local. They want to try to extend and above and beyond their audience. So for example, that example you just provided me, yes, we can go above and beyond. So there's different ways we could go about it. Number one, we have other publications across the country. If you go to Media News Group, we have a website there and it shows publications, all of our publications across the website. Actually, Skyline.studio, if you go to publications, communities, you'll be able to see there as where you'll be able to see there our publications listed by region. So you can see there as well. But if we don't have a publication in that specific city or state, what we do is we do targeted advertising through social and through programmatic advertising. So you can do that. Yeah.
Excellent. Um, there was a question here around, you talked a lot about trust. It looked like you had a slide totally dedicated to that.
Correct.
And um, and I'm wondering if there's the question that was actually posed here was, are there specific techniques that you found most effective when helping brands establish authentic connections with their audiences? And so that was a question of like, hey, we've put out stories throughout, I guess, throughout the presentation, but how does one trust that material?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned, the most important thing, you have to be true to your voice. It depends what you're selling or what you're offering as far as service or product. You have to keep it very strategic around what you're known for. Obviously, if you're a company, let's say around, let's say the travel to Pismo Beach, you don't want to start putting content that's very political or something that talks something that's way out of your scope. You want to keep it within your scope of things. Yeah, just I think just being consistent, being the thought leader in the marketplace as far as what it is that you're trying to get out there, and just follow these five best practices here, like personalize it, be transparent, show empathy, be consistent, and become a teacher. So if there's a lot of hard subjects that you want to share, just educate them and break it down to the ridiculous and just guide them when it comes to that.
Excellent. There was a question here that came in around pitfalls. And they wrote, what is the most common mistake you see brands make when trying to sell their stories through content marketing?
I will say common mistakes are these. I mean, I try to for those that sorry that you missed it, but no, I don't want to sound redundant, but yeah, it just when people are being self-serving, when they talk about that they're number one, when they talk about that they're the best, at the end of the day, people don't want to hear that. They want to hear like, how can you help me with this challenge or with this up with this problem, or how can you make my life better? It's not about, being the number one company, because sometimes even those number one companies are going to be very priced very premium. So, you have to go about it from a different approach, focus more on the consumer or who you're trying to target at the end of the day. Like, put yourself in their shoes. What do they want to hear? What do they want to see? Because sometimes, a lot of times, we get caught in our own zone, talking our own jargon and our own language, and we miss the point. We're so busy trying to make ourselves look great that there's a big disconnect with connecting with the consumer at the end of the day.
Very good. Um, I wrote this down, but I don't know which agency submitted this question here. So I know there's a couple agency folks that are joining the call. They asked, what metrics do you recommend businesses focus on to properly evaluate their storytelling ROI?
That's a good question. Anytime you do anything around custom content, the way most of our clients look at metrics, they see, okay, how many views does this article received? How many people engage with it through social, things of that nature. But I think everything that you do must be tracked. However, content marketing, if you look at the sales funnel, is going to be on the top of the funnel, more on the awareness side of things. And the more you do of it, it starts trickling down to consideration. And then you start putting offers already once people are familiar with your brand. You have a specific offering that shows value to the customer, then that's where you could get closer to the bottom of the funnel and have them engaging and or purchasing with that specific product. So I think it's important to, yes, there has to be some sort of ROI behind it, but in the beginning stages, if you haven't been doing it at all, it's going to be a branding play for now and an awareness play for now, because it and especially depends on the product that you have to offer. If it's something that's more, tangible that you could buy immediately, a CPG product, that's different. But if it's something that's more around finance, around banking or something around that level, or health, it takes a level of trust to know, like, you're just not going to try it. So you got to make sure that they're competent, whoever you're working with, they're in the right place, they're a leader in the space, they get great reviews. So it is going to take a little bit of time if you're starting it from scratch as far as content marketing, and you have to be consistent with it and try to do it from a long period of time, and then start trickling down to different offerings as well. So not just, in the beginning, you want to go more educating, but then as you get closer to a level of comfort that you feel that you could start putting in some content around putting offers, then that's the next step. As long as is a valid offer, and it would make sense. Yeah.
So I think what you're saying there is the fact that only so many of your audience is in market at any given time. And when you look at this through kind of a campaign perspective, it's not like it's just going to run once. You do need to have this run consistently for a given period of time such that
Correct.
you can kind of capture people that are just starting out that process to completing that particular process.
Correct. It's an ongoing thing. It has to be in the campaign that you do, and it has to be. It can't be just one ad, one content article. Let's say, for example, and call it a day. It has to be a series of articles. It has to be a series of communication. This is not the Super Bowl ad. It's not gonna drive engagement like that at all. No.
Now, this was a related question to, I guess, a similar one about ROI. They asked the question, and this, I know you gave a couple examples, so I don't know if this person missed some of this, but they said, can you share a specific example of how Skyline has helped a client transform their storytelling approach to achieve measurable business results?
There's a lot of times we get what we provide most of the clients is like what was delivered as impressions, click-through rates, and reach and all that stuff. But there's a lot of times we don't have full visibility. But what we could say is, like, for example, with Amazon, they've been working with us nonstop. They have a series of articles that go out on a consistent basis throughout the year. They like that when their employees get featured, and the employees, and they share with each other around the office and their work environment. They love seeing positive content like this being shared among employees, because all you see in the past is just Amazon selling products, selling products. So seeing things like this, it's more human, that they're promoting folks that work within an organization or they're affiliated with Amazon. So for us, we know it works because they continue working with us, and that's one way that I could share an example. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, we have a few more questions here. One of them was sort of like around this. I guess it's either this. You have a lot of content here, right? The whole thing is around content and storytelling through content. I guess their question here was, and this hasn't, it's a sort of like an SEO question, but then also not. Um, it's a question of content quality versus quantity. And so they wrote, how do you advise clients to balance quality versus quantity in their content strategy?
That's a great question. We get that asked all the time. It all depends on the client's resources, like based on their resources and their manpower. Because obviously and budgets at the end of the day, because the more content they say, yeah, it's great, but also what kind of content are you putting out? Is it just, post on social media, or is it nice articles that you're promoting throughout, on a weekly or monthly basis, or what's the cadence of it? So I think it's all good. Every client's going to vary. It's all depending on their budgets and also their manpower. And I think one thing that we do to help here when it comes to manpower, let's say, for example, you need help creating content or creating design or imaging and all that stuff. We have a full creative service department here that works with either small mom and pop agencies or with a lot of brands that have their in-house teams in-house, but they're not big enough to handle the workload. So we do work with a couple like agencies and also brands direct that need help with content. We do that for them, and we just provide them in advance on a monthly cadence, or we could do it on a weekly cadence, on an annual basis as well. So it just all depends on the client. But yeah, I personally feel consistency is key. So having a good mix between quality and just a little rough on the edges content, I think is okay because people want to see that authenticity at the end of the day. They want to see something that they can relate with, and it doesn't have to be that polished. It doesn't have to be a full-blown commercial. It could be the CEO, it could be the owner, it could be a marketer, it could be an employee. And it sounds a little bit more realistic, and you can engage and make it a little bit more relatable.
I guess I guess one of the final questions here that we have here from folks is it's an interesting question. It might be a toughie, so I'll throw it out to you. They're asking about multiple channels, right? Video and social and live experiences and things like that. The question was, how do you recommend brands maintain a cohesive narrative while adapting their stories across different platforms?
Yeah, I would say I would start with what their key objective is at the end of the day. What's their marketing objective? Are they trying to really connect with our audience that they don't have at the moment, or they're trying to talk to their base, or exactly it varies based on the client itself, or who's their product or the service they're trying to promote. So I think it's a very broad question, but I think it all is going to come down to number one, like what's their goal? What's their marketing objective? Like, are they trying to sell more product? Are they trying to get more users to download a product? And that's all going to be, and they have to keep the messaging aligned with what they offer, and I think that's what's key. And what's going to be great about that offer that's going to make the users, life, more enjoyable or more productive or easier for them. So it's to handle the whatever service they're promoting or trying to sell. So it's tough without giving me a specific, brand or client.
Yes.
It's hard to really define it. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, consistency is key. But they have to have that halo effect. That what is it exactly they're trying to promote or sell or get
Exactly. And
with
I
the
think the
consumer.
earlier examples you provided around like the Nike one and then also Pedigree, where it was joining the brand with the outcome, but it wasn't necessarily about them. It was about
Correct.
the experience that their users were having. So,
Correct. Like for example, on the Nike ad, they saw their opportunity to really connect with that. Oh, I'm a young female. Oh, I could be a star one day. I could be an athlete one day. And then you don't have to put a price of a sneaker on an ad. So just having that emotional connection with the audience or your consumer, I think it's key and relevant.
and our final question here, Max, is and this is going to ask you to put on your crystal ball here for a second. They wrote, what emerging storytelling techniques or platforms, such as TikTok, do you believe will become essential for brands that want to stand out in an increasingly crowded market.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I love TikTok. I think it gets great engagement, and even if you look at e-commerce, what's not, it's another great platform as well to sell products. I just feel like it all depends to see your resources, what you have available in-house first. And if you don't have resources in-house to amplify this content, you need to outsource it or work with someone or hire someone, whether it's consultant, or whether it's an agency, or whether finding like a media partner like us that does it all. So I think at the end of the day, you just have to know where you stand as far as resources, because there's a lot of ways to share and amplify these stories, but it's all going to come down to budgets. But what I love personally is social. Social is free. As long as you post it, it's free. And yeah, you don't get the boost and the views as you should when it first got started. But as long as it lives there, there's an opportunity that could be seen by people. So they can see one post that you do, and also all of a sudden they start looking at your older posts and looking at your older posts, and then it filters an algorithm that everyone starts looking at it, and eventually it goes viral, or you get a lot of views for that. So I just think that a combination of, just having the right mix of of content being put out there consistently, as opposed to no content being put out there. So yeah, as far as the future, honestly, I would keep it very, very traditional, to be honest. I can't predict the future, but I just think if you put it on an online article, it has legs. It's gonna stay there, and you're gonna be able to see it later on. You could backtrack it. You could have a link that you could always go back to it. TV spots is only gonna last as long as you pay that media spend, that media campaign level. So I think a combination of online articles and video, I think, are the key ways to really make sure that your content stays evergreen and has a longevity at the end of the day.
Very cool. Well, Max, thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure.
We'll go ahead and share this presentation with folks that have attended, a copy of that, and we'll also summarize this presentation and post the information on our website. Any other words of wisdom before we let you go for the day?
No, I just want to say thank you all for your time. Hope you had a nice lunch and enjoyed your lunch with me. And I'm looking forward to helping you guys out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, Max at skyline.studio. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Max. Take
Thanks,
care.
John. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.